So I was writing this out on the plane a little bit because my story can get a little odd at times. And as I was writing it out, I realized that it was taking some really strange turns. So I was like, okay, how do I put this so that people are just not like, who, what the heck is going on? So I'm just, yeah. So I wrote it out, and I hope you enjoy it. This is my most at my most eloquent, hopefully. So yes. So my name is Sajata Epps. I have always called the Bronx my home, and I have a wonderful life here, a life I can be proud of. But it hasn't always been happy or filled with pride. I was born into a single parent home with three other siblings. My mother was a welfare recipient from Virginia, and my dad was an Irish Caribbean from Montserrat. Or so I've heard. He left when I was 6. We grew up in an upper middle class building near East Tremont. I didn't know I was poor until I entered the 4th grade. That was when my classmates and neighbors pointed out to me that it wasn't normal to have food stamps, and pushed the fact that they had more than me. More money, cable, better clothing, and such. I grew up there until I was 18. That was also about the time I became pregnant with my son and ran away from what anyone would consider an abusive home. Pregnant, homeless, in high school, and holding down 2 jobs, I became very aware of how strong one person can be when they are pushed to a breaking point. I was, in fact, at that point, the do or die point. Through those trying times, I was a squatter, a young artist, and a single mother of a disabled child. As I approached my 20s, my art friends began talking to me about a budding art scene in the South Bronx. I paid it no never mind until my mother told me about a vacant building on Kelly Street. Someone had also told me that if I could score an apartment in the middle of the South Bronx, I would be eligible for a small business grant. Some might call it luck, others might call it fate, but I scored both a new apartment and a grant in the spring of 1999. Kelly Street was, dare I say, an adjustment. Everyone was so close like family. I grew up in a very large building where we were taught to mind our own business. If you didn't mind your business, bad things could happen to you. Kelly Street wasn't like that. Neighbors spoke to each other. They fed one another and watched each other's children free of charge. This was all new to me, and at first I rejected it. Like, for real. I was like, what is this and what's going on? I have no idea. Why do you want to talk to me all the time? I don't understand. And let me just get off this by telling a little story. I call Kelly Street the 5 pillars of family power, and this is why. There are like 5 major families on Kelly Street that have a lot of relatives, and this is why I call it the 5 pillars of power. And one of those particular families, who shall remain nameless for the story, would wait outside for me in the morning while I was taking my son to school. And he would literally ask me, how's my day? How's this going? What's going on? What's happening? And I would, once again, just be like, what's going on? What? And it's too early. I have not had my coffee. Seriously, if I have not had my coffee, I just don't want to have a conversation right now. And he would wait for my son to get on the bus, and then I would go to work. And he would walk me to work, like, every single day. And then when I would leave work, it just so happens that He would stack boxes in the village where I was working. So I could not escape Kelly Street at one point. I was just like, wait a minute, what's going on? So he would walk me back to the train station when I was coming home from work. And I didn't understand that. I didn't get why he felt the need to do this until I had a conversation with another member of the community that said, look, this is who we are. This is what we're about. I suggest you just get used to it. It's just this is just what's happening here. So you should just let it go and embrace it. So 10 years down the line, that's exactly what I did. They chased me down and I opened up, and I'm thankful for it. So I just had to say that part. Fast forward 17 years, and not only have I embraced my chosen community, who, by the way, is my family, but I am also one of its leaders, building community farms, community wealth, and fighting for the freedoms of my people. When asked by my rich friends, how can I stand living in the South Bronx, I just smile. Smile because we are not poor. We are only poor by government standards. Standards that do not account for the richness one gets from a supportive and loving community like the South Bronx. A community I proudly call my home. Thank you.